Hey guys, my name's SJ. I am a mum of 3 and my kids are now 5, 8 and 12. And I started gentle parenting my oldest from a newborn, so I did loads of reading about what kind of parent I was going to be before I had him, had some time. And I just was really drawn to this style of parenting. It wasn't actually, I'd not heard the phrase gentle parenting then, it was like authoritative parenting versus authoritarian. So that's kind of its sort of professional name, I guess. And gentle parenting came around by one of the lead sort of writers about it, which is Sarah Ockwell-Smith. So lately on TikTok, gentle parenting has been everywhere. It's gone viral. There's loads of news stories about it, but there are so many things that are wrong and misunderstood about gentle parenting, and actually a whole load of backlash from a lot of creators that I follow who just get told so many misinterpretations of what it is. And I think that there's a little bit to blame for TikTok short form, because you sort of, a lot of it is just why I do gentle parenting and what I'm not going to do as a parent. And it's so short, you don't actually understand what they do. That's what I was missing. I'm like, well, tell me what you do, because I need to know, because I need the help. So with my YouTube channel, I try to give more practical things. I've got a little bit more time, and that's just how I want the advice as well, because a lot of people, number one mistake actually, I will say, put it as my number one, is that people who gentle parent find it easy, or find it natural, or maybe raised kind of like hippie-ish and a bit different, maybe they were homeschooled, and that's not the case. The majority of people who are drawn to gentle parenting is actually because they want to do things opposite to how they were raised. It can be that you're finding your children's behaviour just really triggering, and you just yell, you just can't deal with it, you can't cope with your kids, you find it really, really stressful, and you're like, why is parenting so hard? And that's often the point where people then flip and start researching gentle parenting. And it's because often it's our own childhoods were very, very different, and we were maybe raised totally in a different way. So that's sort of the misconception as well. And I think that most people also, they don't do it 100% of the time. You know, we're just humans. You know, this is a style of parenting that's really, really difficult because it's quite new and different. So, you know, yes, I yell at my children. Yes, I get angry. Yes, I make massive mistakes. But yes, I also make a whole YouTube channel about gentle parenting because I love it, and it's because I have to practice at it all the time. The second biggest misconception, and probably this is the biggest, is that gentle parenting is about raising really gentle children, obedient, lovely, maybe a bit sensitive, which isn't a bad word in my eyes, but you know, that you would sort of, you know, we don't want them to have any struggles, not my little darling Clementine. I want her to, you know, everything to be lovely and peaceful and happy and just gentle, just treat her feelings sensitively. And it's kind of the exact opposite of that, and that always surprises me. And just because of the phrase, I guess, gentle parenting is about the parent being gentle, not the child. Gentle parenting, pleasing the title, is about the parent. It's about me and how I'm going to behave, and how I'm not going to yell, how I'm not going to scream, I'm not going to punish, I'm not going to time out, I'm not going to my rules, my way. I'm going to treat my children with respect, and I will be calm in their chaos. And the chaos, you know, it's because in gentle parenting you believe that all behaviour is a feeling, and I don't think that's in gentle parenting you believe, I think that's a fact. You know, no one can really say it's not to do with a feeling, and if you treat the feeling, not the behaviour, you're going to get more further with your child. You're going to actually help them out and discipline, as in teach them how to cope with those big feelings, and also let children know that yes, you're going to struggle, you really are going to struggle, but it's how to cope with those struggles, how not to turn it on yourself. Because if you're constantly throwing up these big feelings of anger and being told go away, time out, punishment, not good, not okay, not for me, I'm your mum but I can't deal with that side of you. You want to know that all your feelings are valid, your voice is important, you need to be heard and seen, and be passionate, you know, have a feeling, good. We want people who feel and express, you know, because otherwise the world won't ever change, and that all those feelings are valid, and that you just don't turn them inward on yourself. And if you look at the, you know, the bigger picture, and the amount of people who go, oh, I feel ashamed to feel angry, I'm going to put that on myself, or my feelings when I feel like that aren't accepted, no one can hold those with me, so I'll just turn it all on myself, and that anger and that self-esteem will just diminish because it's all on me. And that's where, you know, genuinely you get this children self-harming. It's like, I don't want you to ever turn that anger on yourself. I want you to turn all that anger on me. You can throw it all at me because I'm here to help you deal with it. And that's my third myth about gentle parenting, is that it's all for younger children. Just for toddlers having a tantrum in the supermarket, there's a few little nice techniques, and yes, there are. Check out my video. But it's not. It's very much for older kids as well. It is massively important. And the reason why is because our brains don't actually develop any rational thinking, or to be able to control our actions and reactions rationally doesn't even physically happen in our brains until we're about 22, which I think is proven by Love Island. The embarrassment of their behaviour, to think, why I do that on TV? It's just such a different way of reacting to situations, and yet we expect our kid to do that from really, really little, to make a good choice, to make a reasonable reaction to not liking peas. Whereas actually their emotional brain is just first and foremost, and it will be right up until they're that age. So I think there's a really sad truth in the fact of the decade of parenting, that we put a lot of effort into our children until they're kind of 10, and then when they're more independent around the house, they can kind of get themselves ready, make a bit of food, that we sort of let them go too early in a way. And I sort of kind of feel that as well, like, we have to really stick with them and be their emotional steer for the whole time, and really help them to understand how to get through what's tough bits, the really, really tough bits. And gentle parenting is such a good resource when you've got older ones. A lot of people also say, well, I'm fine. I turned out fine, and I was in a very authoritarian household where I was told my dad was the rule the roost, we had to do what he said, or my mum was really strict, or I got spanked and I'm fine. But then the way you sort of can say that you're not fine is the truth that when a lot of us go home to our mum and dad's house, we go, oh my God, I totally revert into that 14-year-old sulky self, or kind of, like get a bit kind of like petty, or our mum really winds us up, or really triggered, is the trendy word. I have to recover after being with my mum for 2 nights, that's all I can manage. And that is a common narrative, and we all say it. And the reason we revert into that weird person that we used to be is because maybe in that house we felt devalued, we maybe felt unequal, we maybe felt unliked, like loved but not necessarily liked, or that our opinions mattered, or that we had as important stuff to say as our parents. And so you kind of fall back into it. And if that's true, then you didn't turn out fine. You might have turned out fine, but maybe there was a better version of fine, and actually maybe children want to come home and go, this was the place I felt most inspired, this was the root of all of my core values, but yeah, I know how to act on them, and thank goodness I know how to deal with life and these bigger things that I'm dealing with, because each time it got harder and my emotions got more difficult for me to manage as a child, I had somebody there. I never had to do that alone, because my parents were there with me doing that. And that is what gentle parenting is about, being there for all of the big feelings, no matter how big they get. Because if you do that when they're 3, if you're there for them during a tantrum when they're 3, then you're going to be there for them when they have a total breakdown over a relationship when they're 15, they're going to come to you. Whereas if you've put them in their room when they're 3, they're going to go, nope, she's not the person to go to with these feelings, she pushes me away. And that's just a truth. So then discipline is really, really important. There are consequences in my house. Sometimes they're called loving limits. But yeah, I just think of them as real world consequences. It's very normal when I'm an adult, if I'm at work when I'm 28 and I make a humongous F up with something, the boss isn't going to just send me to a room for 28 minutes and then I come back and they've sorted it all out. I have to own that and deal with that and navigate through that myself. Or if in my relationship I've make a massive mistake, I have to deal with those emotions, I have to deal with the other person's emotions, and that's what owning it is. So you're just kind of teaching kids from little to own it by coming up with real world consequences. And if we want our children to really love themselves through their struggles when they're older, we have to teach them that they're loved when they're struggling now at home. It's really crucial. So basically, say they have a massive fallout, my kids, happens all the time, siblings, boys, tempers, all real world stuff. If they've upset somebody, then I help out. Then I will sort of say, you know, we need to make amends. You've hurt someone's feelings, and that's not okay. If somebody's, you know, stormed off crying because somebody's used words or, you know, done something to really upset the other person. Normally in art, it's a game that kind of goes wrong. And then we say, you know, what makes you feel better when you've been upset? And sometimes it's, I just wanted to be alone when I'm upset. Fine, give them their space, and that's a good thing, and be there when they come out. What can you do to make amends? And sometimes that's saying to them, you know, you like it when you get to pick the game and it's your game and everyone plays it, because he doesn't like that. So why don't you say to Evelina, shall we play, you know, Barbies or whatever for half an hour, to make amends because you really did hurt her feelings when you know, scribbled on her drawing or something like that. And that's about teaching them to respect each other in the home and how to think about the other person. And I think that's why I like it, because it's think about them. What do they like? She would appreciate it if you made her a little sorry card, because that's what she likes. She's like into creating little cards at the moment. That would mean a lot to her. And I think getting that language into discipline, real world consequence of hurting someone's feelings. So anyway, I hope that has made you think about gentle parenting in a different way that maybe TikTok has kind of raised for you. Some of these issues, you can also come at me in the comment section below if you want to. I don't mind, I'm strong enough to take it. So gentle parenting is not about raising delicate children that you have to be sensitive around, or their mums are going to like flip out if you say the wrong thing to them. No, it's really not about that. It's about raising really self-assured, confident people who know that their opinions and feelings matter to the people who matter most, and then they'll be confident enough to take those big statement, hopefully leadership kind of qualities into the world and make changes that need to happen. It's not about having no consequences, it's about having sometimes real world consequences and teaching people to actually cope with their struggles and their tough moments in a productive and effective way. And it's not just a flash in the pan trendy thing to do a couple of times when they're little. It's a big long-term thing, you know, it's a big way of changing future relationships and how they cope with future relationships as well. It's basically trying to give them enough power that they're not fueled by batteries. They don't need anything else to give them the confidence to exist in this tough world. Right guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want more gentle parenting stuff. I am on TikTok. Got about 100 followers over there if you want to join in. I will link it below, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys.